for lieutenant in '06. As a lieutenant, he was a district commander of 5 different districts, motor unit commander, crisis negotiation unit commander, and then he got tired and retired in August 2000 and everything, so he decided that he just wanted to come up here and join our police force. Is that right? Indeed. Okay. And change your mind before we go too far. All right, ladies. If you would, come up here. Raise your right hand. I, Tim O'Hara.
I, Tim O'Hara.
Do solemnly swear or affirm.
Do solemnly swear or affirm.
That I will support the constitutions.
That I will support the constitutions.
Of the United States of America and the state of Florida.
Of the United States of America and the state of Florida.
And the ordinances of the city of Louisville. Honestly and faithfully, so help me God.
Honestly and faithfully, so help me God.
Congratulations. If you get stopped.
Yeah, sure.
He's French.
Until later. And my daughter, Christy and Lauren.
Okay, I was surprised today, or yesterday, and we've got 2 more things that we're going to do for the police. So at this time, Noreen, would you come up? Come on over. Chris, right? Good. Doreen, she has been on the force since 2018. She worked for the Marion County Sheriff's Office from 93 to 2015. She worked in the jail from December of 93 to 96, transferred to patrol in 96. She was the first female firearms instructor, training officer for driving and pursuit intervention, certified for the intoxilizer, 8,000, whatever that is. That's one of those. On that. Okay. Certified as a DAR, Medal of Commendation for saving a 2-month-old who stopped breathing. And I can probably go on, but she might hit me, so I won't. So at this time, we're short supervisors in the police department, and we're looking to the future for possible growth in the police department. Patience is a virtue. Maybe. There you go. Okay. I mean, that's the truth. Get up here. Yeah, really. It wasn't too long ago until we swore him in. God. So this at ease. 2003 Florida Retail Federation Law Enforcement Officer of the Year. 2003 Florida Sheriff's Association Deputy Sheriff of the Year. 2003 First Ever Law Enforcement Officer of the Year Award, Florida Attorney General's Office. 2003 National Deputy Sheriff of the Year. 2002 Marion County Sheriff's Office, Purple Heart. 43 certificates, plaques of appreciation, commendation, and 4 Eagle Eye Awards. Name right too.
You did right.
Yeah. And here's these.
Sure.
And
You also like pizza.
there's several places around here. He's wrong.
I like pizza when you buy it there. It's just bigger.
Congratulations.
we know that most of you came for that. If you want to sneak out, we understand. If not, we're glad you're stayed. Okay, we'll move on then to our item number 4, which is our consent agenda. And we have the council meeting minutes of May the 4th. We entertain a motion for item number 5 is old business, and that would be staff, board, and counselor updates. And we will start with city manager Jackie Gorman.
Good evening, council. Good evening all. I want to start my update with reporting that we had received a resignation from C.J. Tomowski this past Thursday. So since that time, Jonathan Bishop, who is up here with us, is now our acting Public Works Director. I can report to you that all is going very well. We know that that was a big change, but we have not missed a beat in keeping everything going forward. We have a little bit more reorganization taking place with staffing, not because of that, but things happening in City Hall just to try and meet some voids, or fill in some voids. So we look forward to working with Jonathan and his staff. They've been great so far with holding everything together. And this is Jonathan, for those of you that don't know him, sitting here. If you want to introduce your staff out there, Jonathan, we got Donald back in the back side on the left. I'll let you take it from here.
Donald Barber in the back left corner is going to, as interim, be the public works supervisor.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Miller, head of the electric. Next to him is Kendall Hamons for the streets and parks.
Terrific.
Great. Okay.
Thank you for stepping up, all of you.
They've been great, I can tell you that. So we're really having a good time working with them and look forward to good things around the corner. Okay, the next thing I want to let you know is we did put an application with DEO for a grant for the airport to do feasibility study and utility master plan, to have Passero do this work for us. We so desperately need to be ready for utility expansions, due to new industry coming in. We have things happening out there, and we want to be able to meet the needs of the new industry as they move into our park. So we're asking for $36,500 from DEO to help us with the feasibility study and master plan for the airport. We're working with Wright Pierce to do the same with the rest of the city and their utilities. And what that does when we get this master plan is that sets us up for funding, for grants. We have 3 rate studies taking place right now that is going to affect as we move forward. So we have a lot going on, and Jonathan's been involved now since Thursday afternoon and getting him up to date on all of these initiatives. And you're going to be seeing some big changes in our Public Works Department over the next year. These are things that need to happen when you get a master plan like this. We're talking everything. When you open the road, we want to make sure our conduit's there for gas. Any water lines need to be replaced or in there, or oversized to meet future growth. Sewer lines, any kind of upgrades we need in our utilities, and then our streets, storm drainage, and all of it, and the whole gamut will be on this plan. So what happened is they phase it based on needs and timing, and then that helps work your budget over the years. It can be updated as we go, and it helps with getting grant funding. So we know that's going to come into play. We're looking at receiving some money from the Rescue Act. We're hoping it can go towards our very badly needed utility upgrades. So that's what we're working on now, and we'll update you as we go.
All right, I believe Mr. Whip had a question. I'm not sure. If I recall right, 34 years. I think that's correct.
Did you give a reason for resigning?
No, sir.
Okay. Cornelius Williams Park, everybody rallied everyone together that had an interest in this park, including a master plan for that park. So they worked on that already. The volunteer group, our planning department, I know Mr. Fuller was there. Everyone that had an interest came to the table, working on what they'd like to see at this park. And that also will set you up for grant opportunities, anybody wants to volunteer, but it gives staff a chance to review all of these improvements that are being requested, make sure we can do it, we understand what it's gonna be to the city for maintenance and upgrade and so forth, so on. So that needed to happen in order for them to accomplish some of the things that they want to do. So we had to do a master plan, so that's underway. So you'll be seeing that happen. I could go on for a long time on things that's going on, but we'll just take it as it comes, because the two big items are on the agenda for later, and I'll just say that that's our EPIC grant and our GFL service for our new garbage collection.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
I saw Mr. Williams come in, as our CRA representative. Mr. Williams, I don't know where he's at, there you are. Would you like to add anything tonight regarding the CRA?
Yes.
We'd love to hear from you.
Okay. I haven't been here in a while, so I'll give you a good bit of an update. Right now, we're in the process of having sidewalks pressure washed in the downtown area, and that's from about the Antique Mall to Hitchcock's Market. This helps to give a cleaner look to the downtown at a very low cost. Just for background, I will add that we did consider the complaints/suggestions to help, thank you, to help businesses in Block 12, which are those storefronts along here, clean up the storefronts that needed cleaning or painting. But there was a consensus on the board that we should not spend money on selective properties. For many years, we have had a facade grant improvement program that is available to property owners or business owners, and we're right now considering expanding that program. Replacement of gateway sign at Heritage Park, the north entrance of town. A welcoming sign approximately 7 feet by 8 feet will be replacing the existing sign. It will match a sign that the Chamber of Commerce is placing on Highway 41. Wayfinding signs. You may have in your meeting packet colored drawings of how the signs will look. If you don't know, you have one.
We don't have them, so, I've seen them, but I don't know that anybody else has.
I'd like to show you, if you don't have it, you can just pass that around, so because it's a lot easier to understand if you see it. At our meeting on May 10th, approval was given for the purchase of the signs for the downtown. We're starting with 20 15-foot-long posts and 25 double-sided blades that will be 12 inches by 38 inches. We have not yet determined the cost for a business. Right now, as visitors drive through town, they would have no way of knowing there's a 24-hour fitness center or an ice cream shop or a little bit more off the main drag, an art gallery. And those signs would let people know, what's available in town. Music in the Park program. The CRA has a small budget for special events, and we're using that for the Music in the Park program. The first one was held on Friday, May 7th. 60 to 70 folks attended the event. We have 2 more scheduled this summer on June 4th and July 2nd, which will feature a band and food. Renovating the arcade. At our main meeting, Walker Architects presented initial ideas for renovation of the arcade, which the city does now own. The most pressing work is to repair the roof and to make other structural upgrades. Consideration will be given to keeping the look of the original tin ceiling, which will have to be replaced. as a gateway from the parking lot to the storefronts, it could include, it will probably include a mural or some other artwork. The main thing right now is that it needs to be made a safe structure. Rain or shine, people will be able to park in the back and walk to the storefronts. And beyond that, we hope that this will be the beginning of a new improved look for Block 12. One repeating item, bids for the parking lot behind Block 12. I'll give you a little bit of background for those who don't know, since this has been going on for quite a while. First, the CRA needed to purchase dilapidated properties on the site, and a lengthy period of waiting had to take place to be able to make the purchases. Not all property owners agreed to sell property, but we eventually decided to proceed with the construction of the parking lot, even if we don't have all of the pieces of the puzzle for the parking lot. Friday afternoon was the deadline for the latest round of bids for the parking lot, and none were received. The query for bids for the parking lot will be expanded to solicit more contractors for what will be at least the fourth round of the bid process. So, there are
Any questions for Mr. Williams? Okay, we appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time. And I know it's lengthy, not just tonight. Thank you. All right, we will, at this time, I'll start with Mr. Ross. Do you have anything you would like to add in the way of an announcement tonight?
No, I don't, not at this time.
Okay. Councilmember Hung? Mr. Mayor? Councilmember Robinson? Okay. I have a couple of things that I actually was going to do at the end, but I think I'll go ahead and do them now since it says announcements. And if I steal anybody's thunder, let me know. There will be a Memorial Day service at Orange Hill Cemetery on Sunday, May the 30th at 2 o'clock. As Mr. Williams said, there will be music in the park on June the 4th. I will say that it was an excellent event in May. And we had at least 80. We set up, I think, 6 tables we ended up with, and probably 5 or 6 tables, 5 or 6 chairs at each table. And a lot of people brought their own chairs. We had a food truck that went over very well. I know my family, I probably had 7 or 8 people there, and we all ate from the food truck. It was wonderful. It was Fat G's that you see sometimes downtown. I will remind you, and I know Ms. Wright will probably bring this up later, of 4th of July, which is on a Saturday this year. Also, we will be having a general employee pension committee meeting and a 185 police pension committee meeting on May the 26th. The general employees will meet at 2, if anybody's interested in that, and the police 185 will meet at 3. Those of you that are involved in that will send you notices about that later. Okay, nobody else has any announcement to make? Okay, then we'll move then to new business. And the first thing on our agenda, 6A, is Mr. Mike Pesso with discussion of his property located at 541 North West Noble Avenue.
Hello, folks.
Hello, Mr. Pesso.
I heard dilapidated buildings here. Over 20-some years that Winn-Dixie was dilapidated. First of all, they started giving me a fine for this place here. $250 per day they wanted. Okay. They would charge $50 a day. Over 20 years that I remember. Then he said he put buildings dilapidated. Were they fixed before they were sold? I'm trying to sell that place.
They don't have to be fixed before they're sold.
Well, that's what they want me to do. I got my signs for sale. And you know who made it that way? The people that were breaking in. When I moved out of that place, I went over there because my wife had cancer, and I wanted to be near. I had it set up where if I wanted to go back in within a day, it was already full of merchandise and everything. I went away, my wife passed away, everything went poof. And who broke in? The people that were breaking in. What am I fixing it for? So they do not get hurt inside the store? I used to sleep there when the police department used to come and tell me, we got the word that somebody's gonna break in. I used to sleep in that place, or any other place, or over there. I'm going to let somebody come, but I wasn't able to do it. They want me to fix things that the people that they worry about, so they can go in there and be safe.
We want them to be safe for the public.
Of course, I understand that.
Right.
But now when I'm selling it, all those buildings over there, one wall, it was a building. All those other buildings was those buildings, comparison to what I have. How about the Winn-Dixie building? How long was that safe?
It has signs accumulating also,
Yeah.
and now it's been
I know
sold
what
and it's being
happened. I know
cleaned
what
up.
happened.
Yeah,
I'm sorry I talk loud.
No, it's
The reason-
okay.
No, but the reason I'm talking loud, my
Right.
father was deaf.
right.
So we had to talk loud. My family, my 5 brothers were here, and you were there, you were thinking killing each other. But I want to.
It doesn't bother me, don't worry.
I wanted to show you about the stuff that we're talking about, advertising in the city. There's these little things that advertise for Williston. Don't touch my stuff. You get over there. I want you to look at this advertisements I used to do. Williston. Cost me over $3,000 every time I advertise. Williston. This is my city. I love this place. It used to cost me more money than I used to make. Yeah. Center page. If this goes down, this is where it opens up. That's one magazine. I had 4 or 5 magazines advertising everywhere from my town.
Right.
I realize when you come in a small little town, they're not going to drive down there. So you have to make it into a destination place. And that's what I try to do. I have famous people come in there. Williston again. It cost me a lot of money. I just opened up the place. I opened up over there when I was, I realized I could not compete with the big feed stores, so I started manufacturing my own feed. Put my name on it. What I used to do, if you bring me a Purina bag, I will give you 50 cents, even though I didn't make 25 cents. I will give them 50 cents, and then they will buy my food. And that's how I started my business. Then I went over here. The mall, the last year I was there, that building got hit 6 times checked with the police department.
Right.
Then it caught on fire. The roof got burned. You think that somebody had to tell me to change the roof? It's my building, I did it. But I was afraid to have anybody come in because, and we had a meeting with the state, what do you call it, the highway department, whatever it is, and they told me, the reason this is because when they took the parking away from this block, they were able to come closer and hit my building.
Yeah.
Okay, but within a week's time, they made the park, forget about after that, they changed it where you can't go near it, and they did a lot of work. And when somebody breaks those little plastics in, nobody picks them up. I'm not here anymore.
Right.
Like I told you, I'm 76. I don't want him calling my house anymore. You hear me? You don't call me in my house anymore. That's why he calls me in the house. I'm not here. And I want to let you know that he's going to be. I'm not here. If I was in Europe, were they going to call me over there to come in within the 25 days?
there are rules,
I know that, I
yeah,
know that.
and we have to go by the rules.
I understand.
And it's actually the Board of Adjustments and Code Enforcement that is now, it's in their ballpark, not really ours. They're the ones who sent you the notification at this time.
I had, and that's when I called you and something when they wanted 163 parking spaces in that, the only reason I can get
At the feed store.
163 parking spaces, I have to tear down all the buildings, and I would have a parking lot. But we had a good city manager at that time.
This is at the feed store?
Huh?
This is at the feed
We
store?
had a good city manager, and he looked at it, and I told him what they want, because I wanted to put, lumber racks.
Right,
See, those lumber racks, as soon as I put them up, I already had to hire 6 people, because now I was able to sell them.
right.
So the city manager came, and he wanted to see this. I then just pulled it up. Okay, now this is what the man, this is what the city manager says. He says to me, I can fix anything, but I can't fix stupid. Can you read it to me? We signed it, that this is okay. But then when the new city manager came and I wanted to show it to him,
Right.
he says, I've never seen this before. He okayed everything. This is the city manager.
It's Marcus Collins, in case y'all are looking, in, May of 2009.
9. And nobody knows nothing about it. I'm breaking the law. What law am I breaking? He told me I can build it, I can do it. And yet, because, you know what happens, because I'm a businessman, I know maybe in a while I don't need it, I may need it here, and I made it right, and I can move it. And he did it.
Right.
This has happened before.
Now, I also had, at that time, I had,
And that's what the note says. The note says, these storage racks are movable on any part of the usable property.
yeah, otherwise it's worthless. But if I put 163 parking spaces, what am I gonna, it's gonna be a parking lot. And when I called
And
you,
when did they tell you they needed 163?
before I did this,
Oh, before you did that.
otherwise,
So not recently.
oh no,
Okay,
there were some.
Just making sure.
And my wife was sick.
right.
Yeah, my wife was sick. And the reason I moved there is because of that. Otherwise, I would have never moved there. And what do you call it? Walgreens wanted to purchase my place over there,
Right.
because that's a condo. So I go to my poor wife, she already had cancer. I'm going to make, for Christ's sake.
It's okay. We'll do it with you. Go ahead.
I told her, Rebecca, you wanna sell this place? She got, takes a step back, and what am I gonna do all day? She worked there.
Yeah, she did.
We're talking about, veterans. If you look around in Old Florida, you may find one other GI, like I was. And I wasn't even a citizen, I was born in Greece. But I remember Kennedy saying, do not ask what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. And I took that literally. That was in 61, 64, graduated high school. What did I do? Join my military.
You enlisted.
Enlisted right away, didn't wait. Yeah, I'm nervous.
You're okay, you're good. We're here to hear what you have to say,
Well,
and hope we can come to some
now,
agreement.
this is my VA card. Oh, and you're not going to see too many cards. What does this say underneath?
You mean the U.S. Army or the VA healthcare enrollees?
Underneath that,
Underneath, service connected.
all my problems, it's service connected.
Okay, gotcha.
Right after I did all my service connected,
Yeah.
I didn't sit in the back, call myself a Marine. Service connected, 1 year with the 3rd Infantry Division. But I did my training before that for about a year in infantry, combat and all that, while I was waiting for my next order. This is the most important thing. The old guard, which is in Arlington Cemetery, Tomb the Unknown Soldier, Kennedy's grave, came in my over there and picked me to go to the old guard. find me another person that did that. Well, you're not going to. We don't exist. After burying, we did the burials for the veteran that came back.
You're gonna,
That bothers me an awful lot. So I volunteered to go to Vietnam because I was tired of giving the flag to the mother
Yeah, yeah.
or the father, or
Right.
this and that. I volunteered, and I went, I didn't go to, as a clerk, I went in as a light infantryman, walked in the jungles. When the Agent Orange fell down, we were orange.
yep. I have family members the same.
Huh?
I have family members that were in the
Yeah,
same place.
yeah. If you were there, you're gonna be orange.
Yes,
And at that time, there was no such a thing as Agent Orange being bad.
oh yeah, I have no idea.
Okay?
Well, and I know there's a lot of history with the city. And there's a lot of history with things that have gone bad.
Well,
But what we're trying to do now is make it better.
I came here one day and I'm speaking to a nice lady in the front over there. She says, how you guys doing? Well, we having trouble selling the bricks. What bricks? This is for the veterans. What do you mean? She says, well, let's make a deal. I'll pay half and the city pays the other half. You know what they told me? No.
No.
I don't know if you remember, it wasn't here, the first time I came in this over here. Somebody in the chair went back and forth on the, we're not in the business to create parking. I didn't care about parking, it wasn't for me. And what did I say? I don't know if you remember, you can look it up. I said, I'll pay for the parking.
I remember the first parking lot that you brought to us.
Yes.
And it was right here where it is now.
Yes.
We all thought you were
I will
crazy.
pay for the parking lot and I will make it look like a park.
Yeah,
No, we're not in the business to do it. And the other one in the chair told me, says, why don't you build a place someplace else and bring it, drive the people over, bus the people here. Give me a break.
I don't think we had a CRA then, but the minute we got the CRA, they jumped right on that. It was a good idea.
Yeah,
We didn't know that it was at the time, but it turned out to be a really good
And
idea.
then, I offered my big building there, that she wants it for nothing. I offered to the city to make it even for kids that come after school, they have no place to go. 13,000 square feet. The kids gonna come in there, pool tables, ping pong, whatever they want them to do. Well, who's gonna insure it? Okay. Then I offered to put flowers and pots all over this. It didn't work. I love this city.
I started to say it would work now because the mindset has changed.
Well, my mind's as a business person, what are you gonna do? You gotta
Yeah,
bring them in for
you
money.
do.
You got 23,000, 100.
3,000 if you're
Yeah,
lucky,
okay.
right?
People in this,
Right.
how are they gonna, you think these people, local people look at those antiques? No. So you have to bring them in there. The food, the dog food, the feed, all that, I developed, I didn't have it here.
Right.
Trucks and everything.
Right. But now we have to get the buildings in the right,
I understand that.
okay, so what can we do to fix 541?
That's it. I wanna sell it, I wanna get rid of it.
You wanna sell it like it is?
Yes.
You don't think if you, I think it's probably beyond fixing.
No, it isn't. I know it. There's one side, I didn't even know there was a hole there, otherwise I don't need nobody to tell me.
Right.
There's a little hole, and I didn't know there was a hole in there. I went inside, and I didn't go inside it, because the members. I go in there, the guy says, it doesn't even leak. It doesn't even leak. They're gonna charge me $250 a day. I'm not even here. How does that work when they send you notice? Who do they send it to?
We send it to the address
Oh,
on the property appraiser's
Oh, if that
website.
person's not there?
It's sent to the property appraiser's website, to that address.
Yeah, but if the person's not there to get it?
Well, they did, I think you did get it
No, you know when I got it? Monday.
Monday,
Monday I got it, no.
Monday of last week.
Yeah, and I don't ever want that man to ever call my house again. I wanna show you something. When is my birthday?
Somebody's got to.
When is my birthday? Talking to you.
You told him not to talk to you, so he's not talking to you.
When is my birthday?
It's okay, Wayne.
Course #1 anyhow, but 1947.
How did you know my birthday? Huh?
He probably knows.
What am
something.
I, a brother this?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm his brother.
You're Marine brothers.
But anyhow, listen, I'm talking like that because I'm so dead.
But let's figure out what to do.
This person is doing,
Let's figure out what to do with 541
it's.
Noble Avenue. We gotta do something with it.
I wanna, you know what?
And we've got complaints about it, that's why it's on their
You
agenda.
got the people that are building, the liquor store, they wanted to buy that place. They not turn them down. I spent $150,000 just to go in there. I spent $250,000 just to go to this place.
You mean for the property itself?
Huh?
You mean for the property?
No.
I don't know what you mean.
New floors, new windows, everything, air conditioning, it was not, you know what kind of electricity they had a plug in, they had an extension over there.
Right.
Same thing with that place over there. How come nothing, you remember, they used to be garbage stuff, remember? They had all the garbage outside. Anything for, tables, chairs, I'm talking too much, right?
I remember it as a child, so I don't remember it as a garbage dump.
Well, they did, that's all they had. They didn't even have electricity. I put in three meters, I put new air conditioners, new floors, new everything.
Well, they're not new anymore.
No, I know they're not.
And I don't think you're gonna be able to sell it in the condition it's in.
Oh, yeah, ask those people if they were gonna buy it.
So why?
I turned them down because I was still gonna lose money.
Well, it's to the point now that the Board of Adjustments and Code Enforcement are going to place fines on it.
Okay, they're not what I want. I want everybody else to see, I wanna see those buildings, I wanna see the fines on those buildings that were dilapidated. I just heard them say that.
Which building?
The buildings behind the buildings here. The ones that one, single wall, no roofs, no sides, no nothing.
They were torn down already, there's nothing there but the side wall.
I know, what about the other ones over there? They still, have you torn them down yet? How long did it take?
All but yours. We haven't torn yours down, we've torn ours down. Because we bought the Ford Furniture building, we bought the building behind Ross Hardware.
They were dilapidated for 20-some years.
Well, we had to buy them before we could do
Yeah,
something.
but for over 20 years, and nothing was done to them. Nothing was done. I really care for this city, believe me.
I know, but we've got to bring it up to code. It's not like we made a new code, it's the same code that's
Well,
in
then
there.
I wanna see the code, if it was done for me, 164, if it wasn't for him, still nobody knows about it.
Now, we're not talking about this
No, I'm just
building.
giving you
We're
correction.
talking about the pawn shop building.
Oh, okay, and what about the thing down there?
Well, those have their own issues, and they are being looked at as well. Right now, we're talking about yours.
I talked about me, but I want you to talk about everybody else that had the same problem for
But that's not
over
what-
20 years that I remember.
That's not what's on the agenda tonight,
Well,
though.
okay, but then I want to see the other agendas for the last 20 years on that particular building.
And there are some that have been fined
You know,
and have paid.
I don't want to go beside this. I shouldn't even be talking that way, because when you said service connected, there's a lot of things that are service connected.
Right.
I can fall down anywhere in this country, we won't take care of me.
Yeah. But that's not gonna help the
No,
building.
I'm getting the ground that I'm in.
Right.
This is, American people don't appreciate this country as much as we people that come from someplace else. I appreciate this country.
If you appreciate it, help me clean it up.
Well, I'll clean it up, if
And mostly at this point, it's the stairs that we have issue with.
somebody really worked on it. If,
I don't know that there's any working on it. Almost gonna have to come down.
no, what's your name? Bill Bob told me he did it. He put a sign in and everything.
I saw Bob. Bob, are you out there? I see Bob.
Yeah, Bob, what did you say you did with the sign?
When you are finished, if I may.
Okay, yeah, but,
And at this point, it's with the Board of Adjustment.
I know you're not gonna abuse me, all of you people ain't gonna abuse me.
No.
I'm not gonna let you.
We're not going to.
Okay, I know you're not.
Yeah.
But people tell me, go to the Board of Ethics, State Ethics. They told me I should go after her and him.
For what?
For what they doing, they're abusing me.
They're not.
I think she told me when we had breakfast, she reminded me that you have a hole in that building. We were having breakfast. If you give me that property, I'll name it after you. It's named after me. I put my antique mall already. You know, they're gonna name it after me. 13,000 square feet. You know how many windows I had to put in that place?
Yeah.
I don't wanna,
And we're still to the fact that it's planning and, it's Board of Adjustments and Code Enforcement that sent you the notice.
if somebody just called me.
And that's where it's gonna come
Okay.
to a head.
Somebody called me from a 561, which is, down at Palm Beach County.
Right.
Who was that?
I don't have any idea.
No, they called me because of that, the dilapidated building over here. And,
None of us.
well, he knew about it. He called me over there. And I wish I wanted to tell him not to call me at home either.
Well, that's because that's the number you have up everywhere. Don't you have a 561
No, he
number
didn't
up
call me,
everywhere?
no, he didn't call me, he told me I'm an inspector.
Oh. I don't know who that would be. Anybody have anything to add? I mean, I just can refer him to the Board of Adjustments and Code Enforcement. That's really where it belongs. And it's because the rules are made by the planning and zoning and the land development regulations and the codes. The city council approves them, and then the Board of Adjustments
So what
enforces them.
What I wanna know, any building that's not for sale, you have to approve it before making, if things are bad? If it is, they can't sell it?
No, you can sell it, they just can't occupy it.
Well, I understand that.
Until it meets
There's
code.
nothing I know. If somebody goes to an empty building to open up a store, then you guys have to inspect it.
Right.
But you do this before, that's not gonna be open.
Well, there are certain safety codes that have to be met.
Well, then, listen, if I didn't have nothing, and if I was here, I would be the worst thing.
I know.
What is it, what's the grass size?
18 inches.
18 inches.
Yeah.
Well, I would go there, especially where the trees are. You know all those trees out in the corner?
Right. Now, that's
You know,
Department,
they're all
that's not us, that's
No,
Department of
I
Transportation.
don't know, but, you know.
Right. All we're asking,
if
all the Board of
anybody has any
Adjustments,
questions, I'll give it to you.
I mean, that's all I can do, refer him back to the planning and to the Board of Adjustments and Code Enforcement.
But I don't.
And I would welcome a conversation with you anytime. Call me up and I'll meet you somewhere.
I know that, you get from Gainesville.
Yeah.
I took it, she came over there because I told her about the 164 parking spaces. And that's down, if you ask me, how many parking spaces this business has, I would have told you, because I know everybody, how many parking spaces that time the Spa had? And they're good friends of mine. How many? Oh, they say it must be good. No,
They
no.
need more though. How
They
we're gonna do
don't even have that.
Yeah.
But they came after me. You know how many people started talking to me in Spanish because I had a mustache?
Anybody else have comments?
Huh?
I was asking anybody else if they had comments. And whatever the date is on the notice that you received to the Board of Adjustments and Code Enforcement, that's when you need to come see them.
I just got that thing. As a matter of fact, he picked it up.
Well, it's wherever your mail goes.
Yeah.
It's wherever the property appraiser
So,
sends your
you
money.
want me to listen, when I leave, I don't stay here.
Right.
I go home and come back, right? I'd rather be here than be down south.
Come on.
I do. But I don't stay here, but what am I supposed to do? The only reason he goes there because he takes, I still got
Right.
pigeons.
Right.
He-
I've seen them.
Pigeons.
I've seen them. They're right here when I go.
And if I don't go, what is he gonna do?
Yeah. But when is the date? I don't know what the date is. Do you know what the date is, Bob? No. Anybody know the date of the Board of Adjustments?
The hearing is passed.
The hearing's already passed.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so he's being fined now? Or did they take it?
He was fined $250, and then he needed to pay that within 30 days of the hearing.
So that's the
then-
administrative cost. Okay,
And if you haven't complied with making this building safe within 30 days of that hearing, then we'll start to accrue a daily fee.
But what I don't understand, that people don't understand, when I have businesses, I have business. When you don't have business, you don't have business. When it comes to pay insurance, you know, none of my bills have any insurance because there's not enough money from that place. Well, the deli here, you know how many years they said they were paying a penny?
yeah.
Okay.
I do, most people don't, but I do.
The beauty part, how many years, those two stores are only two stores that ever full, and then I didn't take a penny from them, because I wanted it to be full and it doesn't look empty.
Right.
And another thing you gotta do, the signs. If you put the signs against the wall, who's gonna see it driving back and forth like this? And when I spoke to the state to and he says, all the city has to do is ask us if they can put it this way.
You can hang them from the awning, if there's an awning.
Yeah, whichever way.
I think that meets the sign ordinance, is to hang something from the awning.
The city, they told me, the state told me, we'll work with the city. And if it wasn't for the city that okayed that thing back there, the highway, that thing, he says, we couldn't do it unless the city okayed it.
Right,
Okay?
yeah.
What happened to that block? Nothing, no stores or nothing.
Where?
The block over there, on by the light. That's what caused the trucks hitting me hitting my building all the time.
Yes, but we fixed that. They fixed it.
Yeah, they fixed it, they fixed it.
Yeah, they fixed it because we insisted they fix it.
Well, I mean, well, no, I was there.
Right.
Okay, I was there, the city council was there, the mayor was there, the police was there, and the state was there.
Right.
And yeah, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Passive. Okay, and we removed Ms. Bob, you want to say something? If you will,
You can't take me nowhere.
if you will, make it quick.
Hello.
Well, you know.
I speak in English. My name is Bob Schmidt. I live in town.
If you will, pull it up because we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
I can hear it now. My name is Bob Schmidt. I've only lived here since 2006, so I'm kind of in the interim period. The question I have in regards to who's in charge of what, because I was on the boards and that stuff, is Wayne asked me last year to clean up Block 12 and also the pawn shop. I had to ask him numerous times on the pawn shop exactly what he wanted, and I actually started getting irritated because he wouldn't tell me exactly what it should be, and all he said was, well, you should know the code. I was on the board of code. I don't know a lot of regulations anymore because I don't memorize them. There's more regulations that aren't on the printouts they give you to go by. But anyhow, if the stairs is the issue, I can take care of the issue, probably have it done, and I'll wait for tomorrow morning if that is.
If the stairs were gone, that would help a lot.
Mhm.
I understand that there are more issues that
Well, what, may I ask what the issues are since I took it last year and I took the job?
yeah, if you know there's, but stairs are what I heard was the issue. If there's more, let me know.
What are the issues I'm asking?
I'm not.
Just a couple of broken windows.
If they're upstairs, if I take the stairs down, you can't reach them. Only way to get to those broken windows on the upper level is you have to trespass to get to it and break in, which is what they did. They actually broke the door casing off the upper door.
I think the code calls for putting plywood over the broken windows, no matter where they are.
It's over 50% disrepair at this point. It's over 50%
In the whole
disrepair.
building?
It does, it is. And it also has an encroachment onto the property.
I heard that.
Owned by the shopping center, and I think that's who's been trying to reach them.
maybe.
So,
My property?
Are you aware of that? The property that's to your east.
Yeah, they called me up, but the thing is, I'm not an attorney, but the attorney told me, if I've been using that property for so many years the way it is now, which is at least 50 years,
Okay,
that's the way it is.
close to 50 at least.
Okay, and I've been, this program be cleaning and cutting the grass and everything, meanwhile,
I know, but
did
the
they
rules.
clean it since you cleaned it? They took it over, or not? They didn't take it over, you?
The pawn shop, they have one from the couple of times. The city has, because it's
Not
the
the
right of way.
Because it's the right of way, right. But at this point, it's the Tractor Supply that said,
Yeah,
when they did their survey, they say that it's encroaching on where the survey says their property
She
is.
called me up and I spoke to her, very nice lady.
Right,
And I said, listen, look, at that time I wasn't building that with that date. I said, why don't I just give you my attorney's phone number, you can talk. No, you don't need an attorney. I found out why I don't need an attorney.
why?
Why? Because if we go to court, that property is being used like this for so many right-of-ways, whatever you call it. He's getting you all kinds of nonsense. And he did.
Yeah, I'm not sure that would hold, would stand up, because there was an alleyway through there as well.
Mrs. Jones, if I may, I
Yes, you will.
don't want, Mr. Schmidt to run out there and do anything with the stairs. Tractor Supply has changed their entire site plan to go around those stairs. So I don't want him to run out there and do that tonight to help Tractor Supply. That's a done deal at this point.
So you can't. Okay, but they did try it. It's just if there's a problem whether we have to pay something, I don't want them to pay anything. I'm not gonna squeeze somebody.
I mean, you don't want them to pay anything, but we need to make it right for them.
No, I want,
Yeah.
what for them? They stay on this side, like when I went to get my dog, permit to put the kennel, you know what the city commissioners always told, the Whitehurst, tractors over there on 41? You stay on this side of your wall, and you, fence, and you stay on this side of the wall. That's what he told them, and that's what they told me, we got along fine. Now, I had a driveway there for my park, not for the parking, for the entrance for the trucks to come in. That's gonna block my whole thing there, I can't put any more trucks there, I wanna put some furniture. Like I used to do here,
At which building?
at the pawn shop.
At the pawn shop? I can't see you putting anything in there anytime soon. As they said, it's in bad shape.
The metal building is, I was gonna tear down, I had plans, I was gonna show you, but I have plans to which I got okayed for 2-story metal building, I was gonna make a nice building out of it. But everything after I did the work in, it tripled my the taxes because they told me it's worth more now, isn't it? I said, yes, but it's no problem. It tripled my taxes off. What am I gonna repair? What am I gonna fix?
They tripled your taxes where?
On the antique mall.
Oh,
Back then, oh yeah.
but not back then maybe, but not now.
No.
Because I know what they are now.
What is it to do now?
Right.
But when we had the fire, the roof, thank God for the firemen and the
Right.
police department, they did a wonderful job. By the end of the week, I put a brand new roof. All those buildings over here in the end,
Right.
I put a brand new roof on them, a nice rubber roof on them. Nobody had to tell me that. Especially if I had the store still to work at. But remember that for 20-some years, none of the store produced me anything. I had the place rented, and the city told them no because it's abandoned. Go check the place.
It's not that it's abandoned, it doesn't meet code.
Well,
Can't turn the electricity on if it doesn't meet code.
I understand
Yeah.
that. It's not only here, it's
And that's
everywhere.
the same with at the top of the hill now,
Yeah, it's
at the
everywhere.
pawn shop. So we've got to figure out something to do about it. So maybe we can talk about it after this. Yeah, another time, maybe you can call me and you and I can try to figure something. And what they're telling me, Mr. Schmidt, is it's more than 51% demolished.
It's 6,000 square foot building, the roof is maybe 1,000 square feet, so where's the other 2,000 square feet of, where's the other 2,000 square feet of damage? Just 50% of the roof would be 3,000 square feet of roof.
I'll let our attorney address this if I'm inaccurate, but in my experience with properties that have been abandoned for a very long time that does not meet code, you need to come in with a contractor estimate that shows what the total value is and the total cost for repairs, if the repairs equal 50%. Okay, that's your 50% rule. But what's happened here is your use is.
And if it's over 50%, it has to be torn down.
Or it has to be, you have to submit plans and get a building permit
To rehab
to
the
bring
whole
it up to
thing.
code to rehab the whole thing.
Anybody
Those are the
ever looked at
options.
that building?
Excuse me.
The building is built with stones this big.
Right.
Okay.
The walls. You're gonna have to hit it with a bulldozer to break it.
Right.
Go look at the walls.
They've just knocked
The
down
back in the
the
back
high
now.
school, so that
Yeah,
can be
the ones in the
accomplished.
back, the storage in that, the metal building, that's not part of that, the other building. It was just storage.
It used to be, bays for the dealership that was there many years ago.
Oh, yeah, I remember that,
Yeah.
they had a paint shop there and everything, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Now, as far as the encroachment, there's not an active business there, and that has also been vacant for a very long time. So that takes on a different tone too, so.
Right, that's what I'm sure.
Yes, so at this point, it goes, just to remind y'all that this is still an active case in front of our code board, so we have to be
That's
careful.
why I keep referring to
How
that
we,
there.
you know, we have to limit our discussion.
Is this whole thing is just starting not just for me? What about all these other buildings that I'm talking about that are abandoned? They've been closed, there's no roof, no walls. Disgusting, they never did anything about it.
The ones you're talking about have been torn down,
When?
in the last 2 or 3 years.
What happened to the other 20 years?
We just bought them. I mean, we can't
No,
touch the
no,
property
no, no,
until we
no.
buy it.
I understand that, but you didn't make sense to it. The owners of the property,
I'm sure in the past they've also paid fines. Yeah,
I like to see it.
yeah, we do. All right, so I can just again direct you back to the Board of Adjustments and Code Enforcement. Their next meeting is June, no meeting in June. It's been canceled, hasn't it?
I don't need nothing. Someone needs to tell me how much they owe my payment, I get them up.
Well, right now, the administrative fees are $250, but if you haven't brought it up to code and within 30 days, that they said they're gonna reassess
How
it.
long do they give that, when they get to fix it up?
They fined them $50 a day.
I don't know, why $50, not $250?
The $250 is an administrative fee. They have not yet assessed your daily fee. That's what the daily fee will be started after
She
the 30
already said
days.
it's gonna be $250 a day,
No,
right?
sorry,
No.
no.
$275.
No,
sorry.
$250 for the administrative fees.
Oh, that I understand.
And the board has not yet assessed daily fines. That's what they'll consider at their next meeting, if you have not responded to their summons, or whatever you wanna call it. Yeah. Okay, so they're the ones you need to deal with.
I don't know about nothing, he just picked it up on Monday. And today is what, Tuesday, Wednesday?
And Monday of last week.
No, this month I just got back.
Well, this agenda closed. This agenda closed last week, and it's on this agenda.
What we're saying is, the envelope from the city was just removed from his mailbox yesterday.
Okay, I can explain that. I did send, certified mail,
It was
and
certified.
it wasn't being picked up, so I sent regular mail.
Because
But
nobody was
Mr.
there.
Schmidt did contact me before that hearing. It was posted on the property, and he asked what the hearing was for, so he knew the hearing was gonna happen. About 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks before it did.
You actually expect me to actually be here all the time?
No, sir.
I'm not here.
No, sir, I don't expect you,
Well,
but I
how
expect
much-
you to contact me and let me know what you're
How do
doing.
I know
Going
you
in.
got, I didn't know the mail was
For
there.
the record,
I'm not
by
there.
law, we're
I
required,
mean, you know, I'm not there.
excuse me, but for the record, we're required by law to notify per the address on property
Right.
appraiser. And it's up to every property owner to make sure that that's a correct address. That's our
That's
legal
what I told you.
requirement. So just, we sent it there by certified mail.
Right.
It made it by we've met our legal requirements.
Right.
If she sent one that didn't go certified, duplicate just as a courtesy. But that, we have met all legal requirements for notice.
Well, the certified one, he picked up, right?
That's a new one.
Huh?
And that was the first one.
Yeah,
See?
no.
Yes, it was
no,
the first
no.
one. And then they just sent a courtesy one that was not certified. That's the one that was picked up this week.
No, it's not.
No, ma'am, I sent a certified mail letting them know what the hearing, what was accomplished at the hearing, and then what they need to do.
Oh, so you sent it after the hearing?
I sent another one.
Another one
Yes,
after the
ma'am.
hearing? So did they pick up the first one?
No, ma'am,
Nobody's there.
We met our legal obligations.
but they picked up, the other one was not returned.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I'll just leave it in the fact that it's a code enforcement issue, not a city council issue at this time. I can meet you there. Okay, we'll move on then, if if you'll turn to page 2, because the other issue was removed from our agenda. We will at this time, Mr. Bloom, if you will present the March financial report for us.
Again, I apologize to everybody.
We'll get it straight.
Good evening. So the financials start, let me make sure I get the right page agenda number. Yeah, the slides start on agenda page 10. Good evening, my name is Stephen Bloom with Infomark, and I am here to present to you your second quarter financial results.
He's just people, okay.
Are we gonna say it?
Okay, so we'll start with the general fund, and I'll kind of work through there.
You understand?
Mr. Pesto, please don't talk to him. You don't wanna talk to him, he don't wanna talk to you. Keep going. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll start with the general fund, and I will kind of work you through the results for each of the major funds. And again, as I mentioned, this is basically your halfway mark of the year. So basically, you're 6 months into your fiscal year, September being the ending of your fiscal year, and we'll start with the general fund. So for each of your funds, there's a slide up there, and there's an overview box, as well as usually some companion graphs to try and help explain what the results are. So for each of the funds, I'll go through the overview, and then I'll give you a little bit some extra information that kind of gives you kind of a feel for what's going on with that particular fund. So starting with the general fund, and what you can see in the overview box is that the very last column called performance, I will put a check mark if it's meeting the budget, and then an X if it's not. Just because there's an X doesn't mean it's necessarily bad or horrible. It just means I need to explain to you what's going on and how that is affected by your budget. But this kind of gives you a little bit, when you look at the performance, just a little taste on how everything is working. So for the general fund, revenues is about 56% of your budget. So halfway mark would be 50%, so anything obviously revenue-wise above 50, it gets kind of the green check mark or kind of the nice gold star. So what happens with your general fund is you're going to get your property taxes early in the year, and that's because people basically want to get their discounts. So you're about 80.2% collected for your property taxes, which means that your general fund is going to, have money up front, which is good. Obviously, you pay your bills, but as the property taxes start to dwindle when you get most of it paid in, then you're using your other general revenue to cover your bills. So it is not unheard of to see your general fund doing so well and to be so far up, 6 months through the year. As you go, you'll use that up till you get to the end of the year, and if everything is working great, you'll be square. And that's kind of how your general fund budget should work. It is not designed to be a profit-generating type of a situation. Perfect world, you're balanced. But right now, you're in good shape. You're at 56%. Everything is looking good. Now, where the companion charts are to the right there, and I'm looking at the first chart, it's called Chart 1. What we've done is we've taken a look at all the different types of revenue that you come in. So anything in green is good. That's kind of how that works. That means you're above budget. Anything in blue is either just below budget or, is late or struggling or basically something to discuss. So if you look at the graph there, most of what you're seeing is in green. And the ones that are coming into the pandemic, how is this going to, what was going to happen? So it is good to see here halfway through that you're just right there at budget. So kind of the shortfall that we were hoping did not occur has not. So that is good to see. Now the other side of your revenue is going to be your expenditures. And again, that's going to be the second chart right under there. So, and again, in this situation, green is good. You want to be under your budget or right there. And you can see that there are 2 departments that are over budget 6 months through the year. And I want to make sure I address each one of those. The first one I want to talk about is your P&Z. And in this particular situation, it's not bad that they're over budget. because for the P and Z, you have, revenue that corresponds with that. And that's gonna be your permitting revenue and your licenses. So you're actually, bringing in almost 60% of your budget in the revenue. So yes, your expenditures are gonna be up as well. So that's kind of why you show the charts, but there's context behind them. And so that particular department, it's great that it's over budget for your spending, because that means your revenue is over budget as well. And that was kind of when we first looked at the P and Z, we looked at the building and permitting during our workshops. We wanted to make sure that that particular activity, that the revenue was covering the spending.
Paid for itself, yeah.
Exactly. So this is kind of a way of looking at it. That's why we do this breakdown. Now, the other one that's over is fire. And we've talked about fire quite a bit. And again, this is a situation with fire, obviously, it's per incidence. So, as the number of incidents go up, unfortunately, there's not necessarily corresponding revenue per se. I mean, you get money from the county, and then you have other revenue, property tax and stuff. But if there's a lot of incidences, and we've seen that, that they grow year after year, unfortunately, that particular department is one of those that is going to struggle. Now, again, it's only about, I think, 50%, so it's just a hair over budget. It's not doing bad. It is a little, like I said, it is in the blue, and it's one of those departments that every quarter we'll have this discussion just to see how they're doing. And the hope is as over the course of a full year, it levels out. Okay, so that's kind of top level for the general fund, and I can take questions per fund if you want, or we can just keep going, and at the end we can cover anything that maybe I missed. Next up is your airport. Another very interesting fund based on what we kind of were hoping would occur and kind of what was coming into this current fiscal year. It's good to report that your revenues is 56% of your budget, which means you're about, $82,000 favorable for the year. Now again, coming in into the pandemic, again, revenue from the airport was one of those things that struggled. But I'm happy to report here, your year-over-year fuel sales is actually up by 1.7%. It's not a ton, but it's good to see when we were looking at some of the downtrends at the airport. So overall, the airports through the first 6 months has made about $67,000, which is again doing very well. But that means not only are they getting the revenue back and it's starting to come back in like it was, but they're controlling their spending as well. So that's a very good number, to have. And I was just actually earlier looking at April, and April was another good month for them too. They actually got that number up to about 82,000, through the first 7 months. So very good trend there. And again, in kind of looking at the overview, you'll see that the expenditures have got an X. Well, this is another situation where the more revenue you come in, the more gas you got to buy. So again, it's a good situation. It's just a hair over budget, about 51%, but it's still doing very well. So it's really nothing but good to kind of report on the airport. The other thing that I always mention, and I'll keep mentioning, is we do have an allowance at the airport of about $63,000. Now this allowance is just to cover potential future debt, bad debt. But as they work through that and collect on that, that's money that will go back into the airport. So I show that, it's, kind of that carrot, say, okay, we're going to show improvement. So right now that's at $63,000. To give you just an idea, that number was well over 100.
Yeah.
So that's, again, very good trend to see what's going on at the airport. Okay, so next up is the CRA fund. I think the big thing to report here is the county money came in, and it was about $156,000. It's actually a little bit more than budgeted. And overall, you can see, green across the board in terms of their performance. Not a whole lot of activity yet for the year. I'm sure that will pick up. But for the first 6 months, again, the CRA does look very good. Now, one thing that I do track on here that is relevant in kind of the bigger picture on the CRA is I put in here the available reserves. And there's a lot of good projects that they're working on. And in terms of what money is available, there's a little bit over $500,000 right now that's in that fund. Now, that'll change each quarter as they spend and stuff, but again, I like to kind of keep that number, showing so that everybody is very clear as to what's there, and then when you start talking about projects, you'll have a way of kind of referencing back to this page. Okay, and the last fund that I'll cover is your big one with the utility fund. And the utility fund overall is again, very good numbers to report overall. So there's a surplus right now, and I'm going to use the word surplus, but the surplus right now is about $162,000. Now, the word surplus is a nice accounting term, but I want to be very clear, especially as we start to approach budget season, that you've made more than you spent. But that money does go towards something and is designated for something. But overall, the utility fund is doing well, $162,000 halfway through the year. Obviously, in a nice world, you double that for the full year. That's a pretty good year. But I can tell you that the electricity revenue is a little bit short of your budget. And now your budget is done on a straight line basis, which means every month it's counted the same. But as you know, towards the summer months, that's not the case for electricity. So what we always do see is electricity will start to pick up towards the end of the year. So it is not an issue that it is behind right now. The other thing to keep in mind is that overall, your electricity contract, what you're purchasing, is going to be less because you just redid your contract, all very good things. So you're not going to meet your budget per se, but that's only because you're not going to be spending as much. So again, good things to see. You can see the revenue, the expenses, everything looks good, and then your available reserve, a little bit over $4 million, which again, sounds like a big number, but I assure you when you start looking at projects, it really is not. But it's important to kind of keep track of that as we go. And that is very top level. I do have some other tracking charts in here. I do break down the utilities by service, something we just it's kind of an extra chart. And the next three, we track your projects, we track your capital spending, and we track any loans. And we do this every quarter. We should present this, and maybe each quarter is more informational. But again, when you start talking about your budget, you're going to definitely want to refer back to your projects. And when you start talking about future loans, you're going to certainly want to refer to the last chart that shows what your outstanding loans are. And just to kind of give you some feel for that, right now you have 2 bank loans. And one of them is for the fire truck, and the amount remaining is only $42,000. So that particular loan will be coming off the books pretty soon. The bigger one, which is the construction of your city hall, that one is the one that obviously be on the books for many more years. That one's a little bit under $1.2 million. And then we also track any loans between your funds. So all of this kind of gives you a big feel, or kind of where the financials are, and that's why we kind of present them each quarter to keep you updated. Maybe you might not have a question about them each time, but they're there for reference. Okay, take any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Blunt? Thank you so much for even helping me understand it. I know, I told him I struggled with it this time for some reason.
It's always great to present good results.
Oh yeah, it is, for sure. Thank you so much. All right, we will move then to item D, which is discussion with possible action of the EPIC grant agreement. City Manager Jackie Foreman.
We've been waiting for this. Tonight in front of you, you have a contract for the EPIC agreement, and just to kind of go backwards a little bit, as you know, we applied for a grant with Truist, which is SunTrust, and the Internet Society, and on May 12th, we were awarded $108,000. We were one of 5. And when we received the award, it said, "Congratulations, out of many excellent applicants, we believe that your project proposal most strongly reflects the Truist EPIC grant program's values of sustainability," which is the word of the year, equity and community empowerment. On behalf of Truist and the Internet Society, we're pleased to inform you that your project's been selected to receive a Truist EPIC grant in the amount of $108,000. So, once we, were awarded, this grant, we got busy. We looked at this as a new utility that was gonna supply broadband to affordable internet to our citizens, and we're very excited about that. So, as you know, we have Aaron Mills in the back, he is our IT manager. We put a whole team together as if we were opening our own new little business, and just to make sure that our business plan was solid, we were doing everything right. And Truist has been, the Internet Society's following us, but we have a team of department managers, and for the future CalLink, which we're gonna call this, enterprise. So we have Erin, Melissa Thompson's our HR manager, is gonna be dealing with our staffing. Jen with finance is our budget, Laura Jones is doing all of the marketing, and of course now we have Jonathan that's gonna be coordinating with all of our city utilities. So if you have a chance to, peruse through, the information, we have really, we really worked hard to put this business plan together, and there's some, steps that we have to take in order to get this, off the ground. So the first thing that we're going to have to do naturally is, enter into this contract with Epic. And during our last meeting, we all met and had a long discussion, and they're very excited to work with us. And at the very end of the meeting said, "We don't think you have enough money." I've never been told that in my whole life. So this was so exciting. So they went from the original award to $131,708 they've given us to get this enterprise off the ground. So tonight we're asking for this grant agreement to be approved. We'll receive this money, and then, of course, all these exhibits that you saw in the back talks about, you know, all of our deadlines, our project plan implementation, our budget, things that we have to do to get the ball going. So I'm gonna see if y'all have any questions, because all the staff that's here tonight to be able to answer that. One thing that we did not itemize separately, and we may have to bring back at the next meeting, but to get this started, we're buying our fiber. And we're doing that through Lumen. That helps us get our broadband business started. And I have that information here, but I think I have to adopt this by resolution.
I was gonna ask if we didn't need a resolution, because there's not one in here.
Even though it's part of our budget that's included in this, I think I have to bring this separate because this contract's somewhere else. But just know that it's coming, and that's what it's gonna be for, because we have a monthly that we have to pay for this fiber in order to get us started. So, I'm going to open this up if you have questions for Aaron or any of us, going forward, but I can tell you, this is gonna involve design, which we've kind of done, Aaron's already done. Construction, which we hope will be pretty seamless, as we watch Aaron climb the tower. This will be a great moment.
Let me know when that happens, I'd like to watch.
YouTube. We need video.
And then, we are going to have to get into some staffing, because we're going to need techs, just no different than you have with your cable television, somebody to run out there and connect folks. And then, of course, our maintenance, and we're going to have inventory, and then, we're going to have our own separate, program to handle all of the billing and everything for this. So it's not going to be intermingled with what we already have. It's separate, because it's going to be it's a very neat software that's being proposed to help us through this. So it involves a lot of public work stuff. It involves our tech and, of course, Aaron to do our troubleshooting. But, and I had my page marked, and I don't have it marked in now, but there is a timeline for which we're going to be implementing this, but we're starting in the center and we're working it. And we put a pretty conservative timeline to it, but we think it's going to go a lot faster than what we have projected, and we think we will end up going outside city limits with this. So Internet Society loved it, and you know they're all about this. So we felt like Aaron did a really good job of helping us get this started. So I'm going to open it up if you have questions for him or me, and we're just asking for approval of this grant tonight so we can move forward.
And my only question is, can we approve it without a resolution for it?
Exactly.
Oh, we're talking about the grant agreement resolution.
Yeah.
This is the second time I have done that.
I mean, I think
I
it needs one too.
forgot about it,
I
yes.
thought it did.
I was thinking Lumen, not the grant itself. Can we, get it approved subject to bringing the resolution back to you? So we can get it going and get it signed,
Yes.
get it moving?
If Mr. Coberline's good with that.
Can I do that, Fred?
Yeah, there's no issue with it coming back to be ratified.
Okay, so we can just do it and get it signed, if you just approve. If you approve the grant, we'll prepare the resolution, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, I'll do
Okay.
that, we'll do it right away tomorrow.
So a motion for approval pending a resolution.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll entertain such a motion.
I move that we approve
Epic.
the
Agreed.
Epic grant agreement. What did I say?
What for broadband internet, pending the resolution.
Pending the resolution.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion and second, any discussion from anyone? All in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Going to move now to item E, which is discussion with possible action of police department renovation loan. Chief Dennis Davis. This is right, excuse me, oh my God. Sorry.
Same last name, or same first name, he just makes a lot more money than me.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I think I sent each of you
I've
a,
been
email
Facebooking with him.
to try to bring you up to speed, because several of you weren't on the council last year. The building was built in 1992, and there's been no additions or upgrades really to speak to of the building, other than central remediation that we had in 2014. If you look at the building, it looks kind of nice from the inside, but basically we're a box inside of a metal building. Second floor has never been finished out, and actually the roof where it meets the fire department bay is not even closed in. So if they, thank goodness they don't run the fire trucks, because it would fill up with diesel fumes inside our building. Here lately, because of the intense heat, and there's no real insulation between the second floor and the ceiling or the roof, if you will, on the first floor, we developed black mold. Last year, we had to move out of the building for about 4 weeks while they went through and done mold remediation. And number two, where the officers write their reports. So the officers don't really have a place they can go and concentrate to write their reports. It's in the break room that everybody's in and out of. And my communications supervisor does not have an office. My patrol committee, so they're all moving around from spot to spot. If we could do this build out, that would solve all the problems that we've talked about. We've looked at it last year. I paid for an engineering study to have it done, and there's no real major renovations building wise to go through to make this happen. The city manager and I've been in constant communication. Last year, after it got turned down, the council asked for me to try to find a grant somewhere. There's simply none there. Councilman Robinson and the mayor, all of us have looked, and you know, everywhere, there's just simply not the money there. The city manager had an idea of maybe going to the Drummond Bank and get a low interest loan to build out and pay back. It's a 5-year loan is what the mayor wanted to go with. It's we need a monthly payment or an annual payment. It's 3.75 interest. And I talked to Mr. Bloom, who's fortunately here tonight, and he said that this is something our budget could swing. And that's, I'll urge y'all to take consideration and let us move forward. You know, something we can move into for the future. We can provide a better service to the citizens and have a more conducive workplace for our officers and employees. That's it.
Chief, how long would it take them to build it out?
I really hadn't got into that time span, and one of the problems we run into now, as long as we wait, the more lumber and building materials go up. Originally, when we looked at it, we were looking at about $60,000, but that's, of course, the building materials go up, and I think it would probably be done within 2 or 3 months at most. Because basically what you're doing
if you're going in, it's a plywood floor up there now, if any of you want to stop by and look at it, you know, just make sure you're wearing something cool, because it's hot up there. And, you look at it, we're gonna basically frame it in, put a drop ceiling and, insulation and air conditioning, phone lines and computer lines.
And you gave an approximate figure of 60,000, how long ago?
That was about, almost a year ago, when we started looking at last year's budget.
Yeah,
Uh,
last year.
And have you lost that contractor?
Well, yes, we have. It was Armstrong Homes, and Armstrong Homes is sold out to the number 2 home builder in America.
Right.
But we've actually got the plans drawn out. Not only have they done an engineering study, but we also have the floor plans, of what we wanted. And when I talked to Chris Armstrong this evening, he said that he might even have another contractor that would come in. City manager and I talked about maybe trying to subcontract it ourselves.
Yes, sir. Been doing building department for 20-plus years. Our plans are ready. Subbing this out is not difficult. I was gonna reach out to Safe Built for a little assistance, our building official, to make sure that as we go forward, we're doing it right, but I think we could sub it and save it a lot of money not doing closure contracts. We're not talking that much of a detail.
Yeah, need a
Build.
carpenter.
It's not a big,
Electrician.
right. So we're gonna look at it with him and, make sure he's good with that and make sure that we can do that. I think we can, unless rules changes recently, we gotta be able to sub it, so, I just think he needs to get it done before it gets so hot and the mold comes back, so we don't
It's
want.
already, the mayor was there today, and we're already starting to show signs of it coming back.
We have to get moving.
Yeah.
So what happened is we'll get if we wanted to just vet this for you guys to make sure you're good with it, we'll bring back the agreement with the resolution and get it.
And my question for Mr. Bloom is, where are you gonna find the money? You said it's there, tell me where it is.
It was good, where?
Well, 2 things. One is we have a contingency of $13,000 that's in the budget. So that would be what we would use for it. The second thing is that even if you got started now, the way we would probably negotiate the loan is you wouldn't start paying principal and interest until you finish construction. So you're 90 days out from that, now you're starting to get to the end of your fiscal year. So I certainly am fine with this fiscal year. Subsequent fiscal years, we're gonna have to build this into the budget, this loan, and then go from there.
Okay, so just kind of punt this year and build it into the budget from here forward.
Yes.
Got it. Everybody understand?
Yeah, we have 13,000.
Right, 13,000 for this time.
And like I say, he said it could be a monthly payment or an annual payment, you know, whatever we would like.
Right. Okay, any questions from anybody?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Who are you gonna give an estimate?
You mean for the building itself?
Mm-hmm.
I think we may need to put it out for bid.
Yeah.
Well, what
To a
happens,
couple of contractors.
if we sub this, we have certain limits, where we need to get quotes, or we have to go out for bid, we'll follow our purchasing manual on that. And we're gonna seek guidance from our building official, use valuation tables, we'll be able to figure it out as we go.
How long will it take to get all this done?
We don't know, again, let us meet with
No, I
him.
mean, to get the ball rolling, to get the numbers and, for the build out and all that.
Well, we were given the grant, right, the loan, so it's a matter of bringing it back, getting it approved, getting with our building official, and you already, I can't imagine it going over 3 or 4 months, if that.
I don't think so.
Not even that, but
And
that's.
once what I was looking for is the approval from y'all,
Yeah.
and then we'll start moving forward and.
We'll bring a timeline.
With everything else.
So if the council,
Say again, Mr. Ross?
Gonna put it out to RFP.
I'm not hearing.
Only if we have to. If we sub it out, we might be able to be within our limits to do, quotes. But we have to look and see what the value of each of these, steps are gonna be, like how much is the plumbing, how much is it gonna be?
The
into the
HVAC, you're probably gonna have to put out.
HVAC.
Yeah.
One of them, if it exceeds 20,000, we have to go.
Yeah.
I would suspect the HVAC is
Yeah.
gonna be the most
HVAC, put it out for sure.
That's gonna be probably the most expensive, because the rest of it
Right.
is basically drop ceiling, insulation,
Right.
drywall,
Some walls.
carpet,
Right.
and wiring.
Right.
And, you know, some of this might be able to be done by some city crews.
It's not complicated.
Right.
You may have to
We
put
have
the
some
electric out too, who
the
knows?
city crew can take care of a lot.
City crew's got a handful.
Well, they can do it. We'll come back to you with that, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so that's the
council,
loan first.
now, are you asking the council to approve the loan?
We wanted to get a feel as to how you felt about this plan, and going forward this way, and we're feeling like if this is acceptable, we'll bring all the paperwork and the timeline and the documents to you going forward.
And once the loan is, if the council approves the loan and whatnot, you can start getting the figures
Yes,
as
sir.
far as the build out
We'll take care of it.
immediately, right?
Yep.
I'd like to see kind of work on both of those at the same time, you know, work with the loan, because basically, Mr. Etheridge is basically a done deal, you just fill the paperwork out. But we start working on the quoting and the pricing, and start moving forward, then not wasting time.
Before it gets to him, let them.
We've got 3 or 4 HVAC companies right here in Williston, you could
Right.
go ask. Mr. Penny,
Yes. I know that.
if you will. Sorry.
Hey, I'm Joel Penny, I live in Williston. I know the fire department and the police department, they're basically the same blueprint, but, you know, the upstairs and everything.
Actually, the fire department is a little bit smaller than what we have.
Right, but.
And they're built
the
out.
person built that, they built that side. My question is, has anybody checked the fire department for black mold? or
We
anything?
have, and for some reason, they didn't have it.
And they're pretty much built out up there.
Is there a way that you can get like a specialist just to see what, I mean, why the reason why you're getting mold
Ventilation.
and they're not?
No.
It's the building.
Because they have AC and we don't.
It's the building.
They have AC over there up top and we don't. I mean, they're, Wilson PD doesn't. Probably the best answer. Okay, any other questions from anybody? Okay, I'll entertain a motion or consensus to move forward.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Consensus to move forward. I do see it.
Yes.
Okay, all right, so,
Mr.
is that,
Ross?
Mr. Ross, to have consensus to move forward, to bring back the loan papers?
Sure.
Okay, I have consensus from everyone, and you got your marching orders.
Thank you.
Okay, then we will move to item F. I'm gonna read it, Resolution 2021-24, a resolution of the City Council of City of Williston, Florida, authorizing the execution of an agreement with GFL Solid Waste Southeast LLC, providing for the purpose of residential and commercial disposal of solid waste for the city, and providing for an effective date. And thank you for being so patient. Ms. Gorman, this one is yours.
Yes, we're excited to bring this contract to you, between the City of Williston and GFL, for, commercial and residential solid waste collection services. Attached to this, agenda item, you're gonna find, of course, the resolution and the contract that has been reviewed a lot by a lot of people. Skip McCall, with Green for Life for GFL is here tonight to also answer questions if you have any. We just met this week again on, the business side of all of this and on the billing, the collection, to make sure that we do a better job, with our customer service and so forth with this one than we had with Waste Pro. We're excited to work with GFL. We think that we're a little step above the way it was handled in the past with our last collection services, with our billing and our customer service. You're gonna see new dumpsters, you're gonna see new totes. It's gonna be, the transition seems to be ready to go pretty seamlessly. And I can turn this over to Skip if you'd like to say something. This is Skip McCall.
Well, thank you. Thank you again, and good evening, Council President, fellow council members, and Mayor. For the record, Skip McCall with GFL Environmental. So, yeah, Ms. Gorman and their staff have been great. We've had very constructive meetings, and just had one yesterday, and kind of laying out the transition plan for starting next week. Over the last 3 to 4 weeks, we've already been ramping up for this project to start. We've already been ordering carts and new dumpsters and things of that nature, and we've been working with the incumbent to make sure everything hopefully goes smoothly and we transition through in a very nice way for everyone in the residents of the city of Williston. So, yeah, so starting next Monday, we'll start, the carts start arriving, the dumpsters will start arriving, and then towards the end of that week, all carts will be delivered to all 1,200 approximately units that we have out there, and commercial businesses that will utilize the garbage cart, and also to the commercial front-load businesses as well. So, yeah, we're excited, everything's going smooth, and all the equipment's gonna be here on time, so that's really good, because there, for a while, the metal was kind of getting like a little dispersed. But they have reassured us that they're gonna make that deadline, and we work with this company pretty closely, and they're a very good customer of ours, and they always seem to pull through, so we should not experience any delays.
And if I could add to that, we're doing a little bit of a marketing also. There's gonna be information with these totes to the residents. It gets them all done before June 1st. So we're on the ball with this, trying to make sure that everybody understands that there's a new service in town.
June 1st is target date.
It is.
Who's gonna pick up Waste Pro stuff?
So Waste Pro has communicated with us, and they have stated that they will be picking up their carts on basically starting next week on the 25th, when they come in for their last collection day, being Tuesday and Thursday. They'll go ahead and collect, and they'll start picking up their carts. We're going to go in behind them with our crews, so we'll set carts out. So the intent is to not try to leave a resident calling and saying, hey, took my cart. Yeah. No. So we try to make sure that we go right in behind. Now, there may be some areas that may not, obviously there may be some overlap, but for the most part, that's how we like to try to transition through. So it's, again, cuts down the phone calls, and it's pretty seamless in that regard. But yes, we'll have our 1-800 number also listed on the flyer that will be going out. Those flyers will actually be in little plastic sleeves. We find this in our transitions and rollouts, it's real successful for us and the residents to be able to just go out, they grab their cart, they pull it off, they're like, oh, cool. So they got a flyer in there, it tells them the resident, the days of pickup and some other, recycling information and things of that nature. So yeah, if it all goes planned the way it does, and we have good support and we have good communication from the incumbent, it's generally a very successful transition.
Okay.
Ready for a motion?
Yes, so.
I make a motion to accept resolution 2021-24, resolution of the City Council of the City of Williamson, Florida, authorizing the execution of an agreement with GFL Solid Waste Southeast, providing for the purpose of residential and commercial collection and disposal of solid waste for the city, and providing an effective date.
Okay, I have a motion, I have a second from Councilmember Hines. Okay, I'll ask for discussion now. Do anybody have any discussion or comments on the contract itself? I only have 2 questions, I'm sorry. I was gonna ask them first, but I'd ask them now. I did not see any reference to city special events. Did I miss that?
I remember, especially events like providing the paper cans and...
If it's in the request for proposal, which it was, we will still abide by what was in.
It was in the proposal, but I didn't see it in the...
Yeah, if it's something that we may need to include in that, but we do the special events for sure, and if that was a mishap or something,
So
but we'll still provide those.
When we have the 4th of July and Peanut Festival and
correct,
that sort of thing, you will provide?
Yeah, what was listed in the actual RFP itself, that document? Right. We abide by what was in the RFP itself.
Okay. The other question is the cleanup fix-up week. Is that in the RFP?
We did talk about that. White goods, I think, is what we were talking about in bulk pickup. Usually that's the mayor's day.
The mayor's cleanup fix-up.
Twice a year.
We usually do it spring and fall.
And I'll also admit too, a lot of our municipal contracts will actually provide like a large 20 or 30 yard roll-off dumpster.
To deliver it there. I think we did talk about that. I remember hearing that. So you would put it somewhere and people would bring it to put it there.
Correct. And these are services above and beyond really what's even in the contract, which is just something that we agree to as a company.
Okay. I just want to make sure that that's still available for us.
100%. Yep.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, I'll ask for a motion. We had a motion and a second. All in favor, wait, sorry, I see a hand down here.
Curious whether the rate's about the same, or just the same?
Well, let me just reiterate, it does start, the first term is June 1st of 2021. It runs through September 30th of 2024. There are 3 additional 5-year terms to be negotiated, for price. And the rate for, I believe the household is actually about 50 cents less.
Yeah, it's $11.92.
Per house, it's $11.92, which, and I think it's 12 something now.
Yes.
Can't remember the cents for now, but it's 12 something. So yes, it's very comparable, a little bit less.
The commercials a
For
little bit
residential.
more.
Depending on the size.
Right. Commercial's a little more, I can actually give you the rate if you'd like, I happen to have it in my hand. I printed that part of it myself when I was studying. Okay, so now, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for your support. We look forward to a good public partnership, so thanks.
We're looking forward to it as well.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move down to G, which is Resolution 2021-26, a resolution for the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, allowing for the renewal of highway lighting agreement contract between the Florida Department of Transportation and the City of Williston, Florida.
That would be Jonathan, that would be his first time presenting, so.
Welcome, Mr. Bishop.
Thank you. Reviewing the 14 contract and the 21 contract, everything looks really good. There's an increase in the monetary value on our liens, and everything else looks good.
Perfect. Okay, so it looks like, if my notes have right, $252 per unit in the city limits.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion for Resolution 2021-24.
I move that we approve
26, excuse me, 26.
I move that we approve resolution 2021-26. Would you like to read that?
No, I've already read it.
Thank you.
We're good. Any discussion from anyone? All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
President,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, who's second? I didn't. Okay, thank you.
Okay, item H, Resolution 2021-27, a resolution of the City of Williston, Florida, appointing Mr. Mark Pompeo to the Planning and Zoning Commission for a 3-year term beginning May 22nd, 2021, and ending May 22nd, 2024, and providing for an effective date. Ms. Jones.
Thank you. Mr. Pompeo's term is up on BASE, which is the Board of Adjustments and Code Enforcement, and he asked if we had any openings on planning and zoning, which we did have one more opening. So this will fill our planning and zoning commission. So we ask that you guys approve that for us.
May I entertain a motion?
I make a motion to approve resolution 2021-27.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item I, Resolution 2021-28, a resolution of the City of Williston, Levy County, Florida, reappointing Sharon Brannon to the City of Williston Board of Adjustments and Code Enforcement for a term beginning May 18th, 2021, and ending May 7th, 2024. Ms. Jones.
Same situation, Ms. Brannon is our president of BASE, which is the Board of Adjustments and Code Enforcement, and her term was set to expire in May, and she said she would be willing to serve for another 3 years.
Any motion?
I move that we approve resolution 2021-28.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Have two. I have one from Mr.
Should a
Ross.
name be in there, in that motion? Name of the person,
It was there.
wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
In the resolution.
Reappointing Sharon Brannon.
Okay, I see it.
Yes, sir. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Item J is the first reading of ordinance 2021-691, an ordinance of the City of Williston, Florida, providing for the increase in compensation of the council members and mayor, providing for the repeal of conflicting ordinances, providing for the severability, and providing for an effective date. I would say that the ordinance is in your packet and has been prepared to Mr. Coberline's liking, and we are finally there, I do believe. Entertain a motion?
Move first reading.
Thanks, sir.
Second.
Have a motion, a second from Ms. Marguerite. Any discussion on the motion from anyone? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Need it. Okay, item K, with possible action, adding Laura Jones. Okay, let me just say, well, I'm gonna read it as it says, and then we'll go from there. This is the one that got changed in the agenda, that we changed at the beginning of the meeting. Discussion with possible action, adding Laura Jones to the General Pension Board, Resolution 2021-31, which is the correct one. I also should read that we're adding City Clerk Latricia Wright as our recording secretary. We've talked with Mr. Coberline about it. I think he's okay with us adding that at this point because it is in the packet itself. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Williston, Florida, appointing Laura Jones and Latricia Wright to the General Employee Pension Committee for an undesignated period. This is also, like I said, in your packet. I believe the packet reads ordinance 23. It should say ordinance 31 instead of 23. So I'll entertain a motion.
To make a motion to approve resolution 2021-31.
Thank you, Councilmember Hunt.
Second that.
Thank you, Mr. Cox. Okay, any discussion from anyone?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All in favor, all opposed, same sign. Okay? All right. I will just let you, that's the meeting I talked about earlier, the two meetings that was taking place on May the 26th, for the General Employee Pension Fund and the 185 Pension Fund. All right, we're back down to the item 7, public participation. No, what is it? Oh, sorry. Discussion and, sorry. I'll put a circle around it too. Discussion with possible action, City Attorney Fred Coberline's resignation. We had a rash of resignations. We're not happy to see Mr. Coberline go. As I told him, he's been our illustrious counselor for these years, and we understand why he's leaving, to spend more time with his family, with his two sons. And so he is helping us at this point to, I believe he sent everyone a sample RFQ, should I say, RFQ, request for qualification. We haven't got anything on our agenda other than that tonight, so I will just bring up the fact that we did receive his resignation. We do have that RFQ to start with, and we'll put that on our agenda for next time. Anybody think we need to move forward anyway before then?
Can we move it? Can we move forward and start sending out notices?
If we're happy with the RFQ as it was received. Is everybody happy with it?
Who do you want to administer that? Is that through clerk or myself?
I would think so, but.
I would think so too.
I mean, I'm happy.
Yeah, I would think so.
Duplicating.
Y'all okay with sending it to the city manager's office, instead of the city clerk's office too? Yeah.
I'll take care of it.
Okay. I would also like to request a copy of his current contract, just for my information, so I know where we're going.
Yeah, I'd like to have a copy also.
If you'll just send us all one, that would be wonderful, so we'll know what we're looking for.
Latricia, can you find that and send it out and something we can?
Okay, so, done that by consensus. Mr. Ross?
Are you gonna continue to practice law, or what?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir. Essentially, I handle these types of meetings 9 times a month, and there's approximately only 16 school nights a month. And I have 2 new boys that I will be marrying into, and I'd like to spend more nights at home doing homework.
There you go.
And I will owe that to her mother, and I give 3 of those very few nights, school nights, to the city of Williston. And after 10 years, I think that now's the time to resign if you're going to, so that you all have the opportunity to find counsel, competitively negotiate, and have those numbers solidified by the time your budget workshops arise.
And for the record, he did give us 60 days notice to accomplish that.
And if you need a little more time to negotiate or something, I'll be happy to try to make arrangements there under the current agreement. Through 4 city managers with you all, 2 mayors, and countless elected and appointed officials.
Oh, my.
I still use the city of Williston to various other clients as an example of civility and bipartisanism. You all have always seemed to have been prepared, or you've just been a great model of civility, excluding the 2011 year.
I agree with that. Thank you for that. We appreciate those kind words. Yeah. It was a shaky start. Okay, thank you, Mr. Coberline. Anything else for this agenda? We will move to public participation, which is our second opportunity for you to speak on anything that is not on the current agenda for 5 minutes, up to 5 minutes. Anybody online?
Anyone on the GoToMeeting like to speak up now. Nothing heard.
Nothing there? Okay. Anything else for the good of the cause up here? If not, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Any announcements?
Oh, sorry.
We're gonna have Latricia talking about 4th of July.
I can, if you, yes, let's do announcements. Anybody got any more announcements? Latricia, got any more announcements? No, you're good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Well, again, I'm still looking for applications. I'm taking applications for participants in the parade. So if anybody wants to put a float, walk, or whatever, I'm still taking applications.
And I know we have a band set up for the field. We have the fireworks set up for the field. So we've gone that far.
Yes.
I don't know how the parade is going. Is Miss Brandon going to help us with the parade again this year?
I'm hoping she will. I haven't asked yet, so I don't want to say yes.
I know Kara and I are on board, so
Yes.
we'll let her know that. Anybody else have any comments or announcements? Yes, sir.
I'm gonna accept wagers on that Aaron can scale the tower and install the equipment faster than Mr. Peso can present it.
Oh my, I don't think that was too hard. I like that. Well, I apologize too for letting him, say what he needed to say, but he needed to say it. I really felt like he needed to say it, and I was happy to see him here tonight. And I do apologize for letting that go on, but it needed to be said. And hopefully it will go, we'll be able to do something with that from here. All right, one more time, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I move that we adjourn.
One more that you-
Oh, never mind.
Oh, sorry, Jonathan.
No problem. I would just like to let you know that I entered into contracts with, Wright Pierce and Dennis Davis, and I had some meetings. Everything's moving forward, and it looks like we're gonna start late summer, early fall.
Okay, so you're gonna bring us back a contract for them?
Well, I might have misspoken on that, but.
No, I should have turned it over to him and just forgot to, but he's just giving you an update on John Henry, that's all, as we've already.
Oh, the stormwater.
That's right, that's a project that he's gonna be taking over
Okay.
and moving on.
I noticed that we had expended some money in there already when we were looking at the budget.
Right, it's all taken care of,
Yeah,
that's just the
that's-
timelines, we were getting close,
Yeah,
and it's exciting, because when we're done with that, it's not gonna take long to get done, we'll be able to start, Laura's gonna be able to start doing the splash park.
And where are you gonna do the splash park?
John Henry Park.
John Henry.
So if we can start designing that, we can start looking for grants, so it's exciting.
Okay, is the splash park part of that grant, or something different?
No, it's not, but if you remember, Finley wanted that, and it said, we spent a lot of money for them to do that, and of course it was denied, because it's in a flood zone.
And they did it there?
And that's where they had designed it,
Okay.
yeah, and this has been some time ago.
Because there's been some discussion of putting it at Cornelius Williams Park too.
Oh, well, maybe that happened, but
And I haven't seen their master plan, y'all said you were
that
working with
wasn't
them on
included
that.
on the master plan, but it can be if you all change your mind, but, and we can have two. I'm just saying, you can have just a pad somewhere for
Right.
kids to get in the water.
Two would be wonderful.
But, we just wanna get our parks moving so
Okay.
that we can enjoy
Perfect.
them. And just Jonathan is gonna be championing that project.
Perfect. All right, are we ready now? Everybody sure? Second, I got it. I got a motion, before. and now
I moved.
Now I got my second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We will adjourn at 8:05.
Rock and roll.
See, not too bad, only 2 hours. That's not different.